Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Flying Fullbacks podcast. And today we have a special episode because the Premier League just announced a Hall of Fame. And in the 2021 season, I guess 2021 year, they've already added two players. Two players have already been inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. And those players are the legendary Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry. Now, a further 23 players have been nominated, and of which 6 players, based on fan votes, will be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. But before we get into the nominees and who we think should be inducted, let's talk about the two players who have already been added. Asito, what is your take on the inclusion of Thierry Henry and Alan Shearer?
Yeah, see, I don't think they would be a more straightforward choice than Alan Shearer, just because of the fact that the amount of goals he scored is like unparalleled. 260 goals in English top flight and Premier League era is just like huge achievement. So yeah, I kind of a straightforward one. Another was the Thierry Henry. The on his day, the player was unplayable, so it was kind of straightforward. The We all know the stats. I don't think we need to bother about the stats. Everybody knows the amount of goals they scored, the amount of medals they won. So it was a kind of straightforward thing. I'm still a bit surprised at the inclusion of Thierry Henry as a straightforward pick. Other than the fact that if he had gone to the nominee and then picked up by fans, it had made way more sense. But it's okay. I don't think anybody is questioning these two as a pick for Hall of Fame. So yeah, I think we can move on to the 23 nominees.
Yeah, I must agree. Though these two players are pretty obvious. One of the greatest English players of all time, and undoubtedly the greatest foreign player of all time in the Premier League. Now, moving on to the 23 nominees, let's just go through them once before we select our picks. So, I think the viewers can see the nominees on screen: Tony Adams, David Beckham, Dennis Bergkamp, Sol Campbell, Eric Cantona. Then just move down. You have Andy Cole, Ashley Cole, Didier Drogba, Les Ferdinand, and Rio Ferdinand. And we have Robbie Fowler, Steven Gerrard, Roy Keane, Frank Lampard, and Matt Letizia. And Michael Owen, Peter Schmeichel, Paul Scholes, John Terry, Robin Van Persie, and finally Nemanja Vidic, Patrick Vieira, and Ian Wright. So let's talk about our picks.
Yeah, first of all, viewers can vote for their top 6 picks by 9th May. Time is given in BST here, so just change it to IST. So yeah, you can vote on the Premier League website. So please go out and check it out. So other than that, we are going to make our picks. I don't think there is going to be any argument in the inclusion of Dennis Bergkamp.
Absolutely, definitely deserves to be.
So we got our first pick here. This animation.
Let's talk a bit about
the animation is great.
Yeah, let's talk a bit about Dennis Bergkamp. So Dennis Bergkamp is one of my favorite players of all time. I've seen a lot of his highlights and I've seen a lot of full games as well. He was an absolute class act on the ball, great movement off the ball. Overall, just such an incredible player to watch. One of the players who made me fall in love with football.
Yeah, so moving on, next player we're going to take a look at it is Tijime. Who's your pick?
So I'm going to go with Roy Keane.
Okay.
He's a very entertaining pundit and he was an exceptional player. I think Mourinho would have loved to have him. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Mourinho would have killed it to have him. He's the most perfect Mourinho player I can see. I think there's a matchman in heaven, which was never became a reality. But yeah, he was a typical brash English player. Sorry, Irish player.
Irish player.
Irish player. The brash Irish player who would break your leg instead of letting a goal in. So yeah. Other than then, what's your pick?
So I think we have to go for his midfield counterpart, Patrick Vieira. They had a legendary rivalry on and off the pitch. We saw a lot of instances of things getting very heated. And again, I've seen a lot of Patrick Vieira. I've seen a lot of highlights. I've seen a lot of full matches. And again, another absolutely class player, defensively solid, chipped in with a few goals, great leadership on the pitch. Just a fantastic player.
So yeah, moving on from Patrick Vieira, we are already halfway there. Who's your fourth pick?
My fourth pick is going to be Peter Schmeichel. Now, Peter Schmeichel, in my opinion, is the greatest keeper of the Premier League era. He was an imposing, tall guy, big guy. He was very intimidating. And I think a lot of attackers were, to be honest, scared of him. They were scared of going in for a loose ball, which the keeper is, coming to collect. Usually, it's the keeper who is afraid of getting injured, getting hurt. But in this case, I think he was a fearless player and a great player. So my fourth pick is Peter Schmeichel. And moving on, I think I need to pick a defender now. And my pick for the defender is going to be Nemanja Vidic.
Ooh, and I think he is the most underrated.
So ever options. Yeah, I agree, and that's actually why I think he should be nominated.
The only defender to win Premier League Player of the Season twice.
Exactly.
I think that's a underrated achievement.
The other two, and I think more obvious, more common inclusions would be John Terry and Rio Ferdinand. But I think Nemanja Vidic absolutely deserves to be at the same level as those two in terms of the respect he's given and the kind of status that he is.
So who's going to be your last pick?
My last pick, if you could just scroll up a bit, I'll have to think a bit about this. So in my shortlist, I have Eric Cantona, Sol Campbell, Frank Lampard, and Paul Scholes. It's a tough one to pick of these four.
No David Beckham. It's quite surprising that you're going for no David Beckham.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but yeah, David Beckham does not make the cut for me. Of these four, I'm going to pick Paul Scholes. Now, as a player, I kind of feel like I'm a player kind of similar to Paul Scholes. Love passing, and just generally, I know I'm nowhere close to his ability.
I think that's quite an exaggeration there. That you are anywhere.
Dude, I never compared my ability with him, man. I'm just saying that my play style was similar.
That's
no disrespect to Paul Scholes.
Viewers, you can see we are doing a comedy podcast today because this is clearly not football blogging. Teju is nowhere near Paul Scholes in any shape or form.
Okay, I'm not saying I play like Paul. I'm not saying I'm anywhere close to as good as Paul Scholes, but I mean that's a style of play that that's.
We are doing comedy in the podcast now.
Yeah, Paul Scholes is my last selection.
So yeah, so we'll take a recap. So we have picked Dennis Bergkamp, Roy Keane, Peter Schmeichel, Paul Scholes, Nemanja Vidic, and Patrick Vieira. Some might have taken John Terry over Vidic. Completely agreeable argument there, but we have picked Vidic over JT. Other than that, I think it's pretty straightforward. Okay, the big contribution is the leaving out of David Beckham just because of his popularity. I don't think anyone with the more footballing side of things will pick him in the top 6 right now. But just because of sheer popularity, I think many people will vote David Beckham in the Hall of Fame without any doubts, I think. And apart from that,
I think there are a lot of players who might be more popular. I mean, Steven Gerrard is one of the most loved players.
And Frank Lampard.
Especially from Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, they're very loved. Matt Letizier, very loved player.
Yeah, so, John Terry.
In terms of popularity,
I think John Terry would be a more popular choice than Vidic for the selection of this thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Vidic, I think generally is underrated, and even in this case, I think he might be looked over in favor of.
So yeah, these are our top. Yeah, this is the 6 players we have picked up for the Hall of Fame. Please comment your picks in the comment section below, and thank you for watching.
See you next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Flying Fullbacks podcast. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and share. And for more such content, subscribe to our YouTube channel.